Hi, I'm Bruce Johnston of the Beach Boys, asking you to drive carefully over the holiday season.
Why can't every day be just like Christmas?
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
You doing that thing you do, breaking my heart into a million pieces, like you always do. And you don't mean to be cruel. You never even knew about the heartache I've been going through. Well, I try to forget you, girl.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm going to be your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. The X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. Then the show is repeated in its entirety from 2 a.m. until 6 a.m. on the Talkstar Radio Network and our growing family of broadcast affiliates across Canada, the United States, Central America, South America, the Pacific Rim, the Caribbean, 24 Asian countries, and across Europe. And today I'd like to welcome 3 new stations in the Chicago area, WYKO, Mix 92, and Oldies 1300. Welcome to the X-Zone family. Today is Friday the 13th in the month of November. Oh my goodness, another Friday the 13th this year. Ouch. And on this date in 1789, Ben Franklin wrote in a letter, "Nothing is certain but death and taxes." I guess he'd know since he was one of the guys responsible for both. In 1875, football was played in first Harvard-Yale game was played, where both teams wore uniforms. And on this date in 1942, a minimum draft age was lowered from 21 to 18. And on this date in 1972, the Holland Tunnel was opened for the very first time between New York and New Jersey. As I said, today is Friday the 13th, and consider yourself warned, X-Zone Nation. It is bad luck to begin a new job or a trip. Cut off both ends of a loaf of bread. Flip your mattress, put new shoes on the table, leave your hat on the bed, walk under a ladder, pour water onto a windowsill, plant potatoes, lean a broom on a bed. It's unlucky to open an umbrella in a home, do housework, wear new clothes, cut your hair, sneeze to your left side, or have a black cat cross your path. However, it is good luck to cut your fingernails on Friday to avoid a toothache during the month. What happens if you wear dentures? Does that count? Take candy to a friend during your visit to them on the 1st of the new year. Pick the first violets of spring. When you set the table, place the salt down first. If you drop a spoon, expect friends to drop by and see you soon. If your left hand itches, money will come to you. When you move to a new house, take a broom and a loaf of bread with you, and put a red bow on a newborn baby. And it's also good luck not to sweep or dust out the front door until you're ready to, because that means that's just sweeping away the good luck. And finally, make a wish when you see the first robin of spring. If it doesn't fly away before your wish is finished, it will come true. If you're celebrating your birthday today, well, happy birthday to you from everyone here at the X-Zone and the Talkstar Radio Network. You're celebrating your birthday with Neil Flynn, is 42 today. Whoopi Goldberg turns the big 60 today. And Madeleine Sherwood, who played Mother Superior in that old Sally Field comedy, The Flying Nun, is still around. God bless her, she's 87 years young. X-Zone Nation, when I return from this 2-minute commercial break, I will be joined by Sande Donahue. And we're going to be talking about her puppy. That's right, her puppy has written a book. I'm not kidding. Her puppy really did write a book. And we're going to be talking about the book on the other side of this commercial as the X-Zone continues on the Talkstar Radio Network. We're going to be also seeing what's new with JoJo and what JoJo's plans are for the new year. My name is Rob McConnell. Sande Donahue is my very special guest coming up on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as the X-Zone starts for tonight, Friday the 13th. That's Friday, November the 13th in the year 2009, live from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network. Whatever you do, do not go away. We will be back in 2 minutes. Friday the 13th. I better run around the studio, see if everybody's got the salt down first, and if they didn't, we'll have to replace it. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Come on, weatherman, give us a forecast, snowy white. Can't you hear the prayers of every childlike heart tonight? The Rockies are calling, Denver snow falling. Somebody said it's 4 feet deep. It doesn't matter, give me the laughter, I'm gonna choose to keep another tender Tennessee Christmas, the only Christmas for me, where the love circles around.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. Our toll-free number is 1-877-528-8255. That is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our websites, www.xzoneradio.com and www.xzonetv.com. My guest this hour is Sande Donahue, and Sande was born in Wisconsin. Some say the middle of cheese country, but she refers to her birth state as the middle of God's forest country, the North Woods always holding a special place in her heart. From there, her growing years were spent preliminary in the northern suburbs of Chicago. After graduation, she married and moved to Port Washington, Long Island, where she and her husband took over the management of a family restaurant because of illness. After selling the business and moving the family back to the Midwest, her entrepreneurial spirit motivated Sande to begin a computer consulting business, working as liaison between clients and manufacturers as companies began to automate their offices. Her extracurricular activities included a 2-year position as president of the Chicago State Street Business and Professional Women's Organization, which included a citywide sponsored high-tech career conference with over 2,000 in attendance, and a special guest appearance by the Chicago luminary herself, Oprah Winfrey. Now, Sande Donahue has always had a yearning for the written word. One of the first writing jobs that allowed her to tap into her creative pen was a scriptwriter for the famous Bozo Circus children's television show, which ran on superstation WGN nationwide. Later, she found herself as a full-time caregiver to her mother, who was stricken with Alzheimer's. Throughout her 16-year journey caring for her mom, she kept a journal to record the memorable moments that she always wanted to cherish, and since she had taken the journal and wrote her first book, Fading Angel, a chronicle of love, which opens up a window into the world of this debilitating disease and provides help and resources for other families to survive, cope, and learn from Sande's 16-year calling. She continued to write freelance for many years, and then came JoJo. Since then, she has she's become such a strong advocate for the care and well-being of animals of all kinds. She and her husband adopted a tiny Yorkie poo who had been left abandoned and had a history of abuse. His story was heartbreaking, and through JoJo's ever-thankful eyes, she felt that he was a person harboring a story that just needed to be told. She contacted Dr. Kim Ogden, a nationally renowned animal communicator, and together the three of them were able to develop an extraordinary story explanation as told through the viewpoint of JoJo and his cohorts. And in JoJo's very own words, thus, JoJo, A Dog's Tale, an autobiography, was born. And Sande Donahue, welcome back to the X Zone. And how is JoJo these days?
JoJo is doing fine. You know, when we got him, he was 4 pounds, and he is now a lumbering 6.5 pounds.
Whoa.
So he's healthy, he's doing well, he still swims in the pool, he runs the yard, and he thinks he's a Great Dane.
Now, isn't that great?
He is just, still continues to be the light of our lives, and, you know, JoJo has regular sessions with Dr. Kim because I like to stay abreast of his thoughts and his feelings. And, of course, if there's anything bothering him or anything hurting him, we have our sessions, and I find out through Dr. Kim, you know, if there's anything that's going on with him. But so far, knock on wood, everything is wonderful. He's happy. He still loves his mom and dad. Loves his soft and creamy in the evening, which is ice cream, and we're doing good.
So tell me, as an outsider, what does JoJo think of the human race?
Well, JoJo understands that there's a difference in the species, but he has a very profound message in his book, and his message is, if we as humans don't understand the meaning of love between our species, he said, I'm afraid the earth will not survive. And he says it is love that makes the world go round, keeps it together, and keeps it alive. And even with all the troubles of the world, love is what snaps it all back together. Now that's pretty profound, but you have to understand also that these little creatures, the little ones, even the big ones, they are still very much more in tune with what's going on in terms of the energy of the universe and the thoughts of the universe that continue to swirl around. I just took an article off the internet. I get a lot of information from various websites.
Yes.
That I've tuned into, and one of them is from a lady who is also an animal communicator. Her name is Val Hart. Her website is askval.com, and she sends out little newsletters every day, and she tells an interesting story. Now, one day she was looking out her backyard, and her cat was just sitting out on deck with his legs stretched out and crossed in front of himself, and his head was reaching towards the sky, towards the sun, and his eyes were closed. And he was just slowly kept moving his head back and forth. And she was very curious about this, and she asked him what he was doing. And he said, I am blessing my space, being one with everything and everyone, from the trees to the earth, to the birds, to the insects, to the wind, sharing healing and balance, harmony and peace. This is how to connect and be one with life. If humans did this regularly, he said, they would not be so sick. They could allow the richness of life which surrounds us to support, heal, and nurture. Now that just tells you we are so out of tune and disconnected. And that's the message that animals are trying to get to us today. Get connected.
But what can the animals do to reach such a massive number of people before it's too late?
Well, one of the things they can do is read JoJo's book.
Animals
There you
don't
go.
read.
There are a lot of books out there about animal communication and stories told, just like JoJo's book, stories told directly from the animals. Spiritual awareness, thoughts that come from the animals. And it's not just thoughts, it's knowing. They know. They are right in there and right connected. And we seem to continually walk around in this phase with glazed over eyes, worrying about our ego, worrying about how we're going to look, worrying about what kind of car we're going to buy, worrying about getting our kids to the soccer game. In a certain aspect, yes, those things are important, but they all mean nothing if you don't take the time, as they say, to stop and smell the roses. You know, there's a very, very wonderful quote, a favorite quote of mine that comes from a man, Carl Sagan, who we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, his quote was, "In order to make a pie from scratch, you must first create the universe." Now, doesn't that just penetrate right into your brain?
I've got to say that makes no sense to me.
Well, of course it makes sense to you. In order to make a pie from scratch, you must first create the universe. Because if you don't create the universe first, you don't have that human that is created, who has the brain that is created, who has the yearning and the longing that is created, and the apple tree that is created, and all of the ingredients that go into the apple pie.
So basically what we're saying, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, of course.
All
But
right.
we all know.
Okay.
The universe first. But what we need to do as humans is we need to connect to our little animal friends that will teach us how to connect to the powers of the universe and teach us, if nothing else, to be better human beings.
What does that tell us about the human race if we have to listen to animals in order to find out how to live right? What does that say about us?
Well, I think what that says to us is very clearly that we've lost our way. We've gotten so, like I said before, we've gotten so wrapped up on the material things of this world. You want to go out and you want to buy that new car. That's great. That's fabulous. But then when you come home, go sit in your backyard, get a chair, get a cup of tea, just sit there, talk to the clouds. Talk to your flowers. Talk to the things around you, the growing life that is around you. Take the time to smell the roses.
Talk to roses or smell the roses. Hey, you've got me there. Talking to clouds? I don't know. I'm going to have to give this one some thought over this commercial break with the news. My name is Rob McConnell, and this is the X Zone on the Talkstar Radio Network. 1-877-528-8255 is toll-free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My very special guest this hour is Sande Donahue, and, of course, with Sandy is JoJo, and we're going to be talking to Sandy more about how JoJo has inspired her life and what we can learn from the animals that we share this beautiful planet with when we come back from this commercial break. As the Talkstar continues in the X Zone, well, that too, as the X Zone radio show continues live and around the world on Talkstar.
Flu season is here again, and this year so is the H1N1 flu virus. By taking some simple steps, you can help protect yourself and others. Wash your hands with soap and warm water for at least 20 seconds. Cough and sneeze into your arm, not your hand. Keep common surfaces and items like doorknobs and keyboards disinfected. To find out more, go to fightflu.ca or call 1-800-O-CANADA. Knowledge is your best defense. A message from the Public Health Agency of Canada.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Hi, this is Eric Rawls of Cosmoverse.com, and you're listening to Rob McConnell in the X Zone.
Hi, this is Blade Runner, and you are listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Hi, I'm Laura Sabrin of Feast to Fields Organic Vineyard in Jordan, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Hi, my name is Lady Ashley, the White Witch of Niagara-on-the-Lake, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal talk radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Lacy things, the wife is missing. Didn't ask for her permission. I'm wearing her clothes, her silk pantyhose, walking round in women's underwear. In the store, there's a teddy with little straps like spaghetti. It holds me so tight, like handcuffs at night, walking round in women's underwear. In the office, there's a guy named Melvin.
Don't you just love the Christmas season? I decided that we were going to start a little earlier this year because there's so much negativity going on in the world, and Christmas seems to be the time of year when people forget bygones. And you know what? You see a lot of smiles. You see a lot of happy people, except dads in Walmart lines. Ever look at a Walmart line and look at Dad? He never looks happy. You know, he's just looking at that line, that continuous line of the 14 shopping carts that Mom has for her Christmas shopping, and he's going through all his wallet, getting all the credit cards ready, because there's not one credit card on there that can be used because, you know, he's going to go well over each limit. And there's Mom, God bless her, she's pushing all the stuff there, and all the kids are helping make that stuff come through, and then Dad's got to lug everything out. Wait a minute, that was me last night at Walmart. I knew that sounded familiar. But anyway, Christmas season 2009 is with us, and everybody, I believe this, Sandy, that if we were to have the Christmas spirit 364 days of the year, that this would be a super great world. And maybe this is what Jojo and the other animals are trying to tell us, that it is within each and every one of us to turn the negativity around and have a great life.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
Tell me, does Jojo like going Christmas shopping?
Jojo loves Christmas shopping. Are you kidding me? I take him anywhere I can go. You know, there are a lot of stores that will let us in, but then there are a lot of stores that turn us away, too. And I kind of understand that. I mean, I was in Walgreens one time, and I had taken him in there 2 or 3 times before, and there wasn't a problem. And, you know, all the clerks would go by, oh, isn't he cute, blah, blah, blah. Then the manager came out and saw me with him one time, and she was very kind, but, you know, asked me if I could just take him and put him in the car, take him home, because they really didn't allow dogs in the store, even though I had been in there before. But the reason I was in there before is because basically I just didn't get caught. And she caught me. But I do understand, because in a place like Walgreens, they do sell food. They have pharmaceuticals. And, you know, after I thought about it myself a little bit, and I said, oh, maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But I do take him to some of the other big box stores, and we go shopping, and he just has the best time. He sits there and he perches, and, you know, he still has a thing about men, and when we take the cart by a man, he'll sit there and he'll growl. But then when a little kid comes up to him, he's got his little wet nose out there, and he's,
oh my goodness,
you know, just as happy as a little lark. But he loves he loves all the excitement. I put his little coat on, I put him in the car, and I tell him we're going shopping, and he starts getting the shivers of anxiety. He can't wait to get there.
And tell me, what was it like for JoJo the first time that JoJo sat down and went through a session with Dr. Kim?
Well, strangely enough, he understood what was going on because here was somebody talking to him. So it didn't really freak him out too much. I mean, they communicated. She told him exactly what was going on and what I was doing, and he came back with, he knew that he didn't know book, that I was writing a book. He didn't have that concept, but he knew that I was putting information about him together for some reason. And then she explained to him that I was writing a book, and a book is something that we have in the human world that we go to for reference, blah, blah, blah. Well, then he got it. Then he was fine with it. And then, any session, we would get together twice a week, and any session was really good. But then there were times when he was tired, or he just wasn't in the mood. Nothing was coming through. And one time in particular, where she was telling me, she says, I'm not getting anything from him. All he says is he's tired. He wants to go back to bed. He just doesn't want to talk. He's not in the mood. And then she said to me, she said, why is he so tired? And this is why she is so wonderful. Dr. Kim Ogden. I'm going to give her website, kimogden.com, KIMOGDEN. She kept saying, why is he so tired? Why is he so tired? He keeps saying he's tired. Well, the day before, I had to take him for a nail clipping. With a nail clipping, because of abuse and problems that he had before with this issue, he has to be tranquilized for this nail clipping. Now, as anybody knows, when you do a tranquilizer one day for any reason, it kind of carries over to the next day. I mean, you're not really fully there for 48 to 72 hours.
Oh, I don't know. I guess it depends on how many martinis you drink.
Well, I suppose that too. But you got to remember, you got a little 5-pounder here.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're much more affected. So even the next day, after he had his nails clipped, even the next day he was still a little bit affected by it, and he just kind of wanted to sleep it off, and he wasn't in the mood. And she picked that up. She detected that, even though she had no clue that the day before he had gone for this nail clipping.
My goodness. So this was caused by his stress.
By his stress and the residuals from this little half of 1 millimeter tranquilizer, because I only can give him little halfy ones just to calm him, little animal tranks just to calm him down a little bit. But it was from the stress, and it was from the residuals of the tranquilizer. And the next day, boy, he just wanted no part of any talk he talked.
He was still dragging his little butt around because of the effects of the tranquilizer.
The tranquilizer, much like a hangover.
My goodness.
There you go.
Tell me, Sandy, what does JoJo think of Dr. Ogden?
He loves Dr. Kim. We call her Dr. Kim. She goes by Dr. Kim. He loves her. He does. Every time we have a session, she, they'll get together. They'll start having their talk, and then she just giggles and giggles and giggles. I'm going, what? She says he's just so funny. He's just so funny. He just keeps going, hi, doctor, hi, doctor, hi, doctor. And she says he is just the cutest little thing. He loves talking to her. Or he will tell her, not much going on, blah, 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 blah. But then he'll tell her, what we did last week? We went shopping, or we went to this store like PetSmart. He loves to go to PetSmart. And I don't put him in the basket. I put him on the leash so he can run around and get all the smells from the other animals. Because, in PetSmart, you can take all your dogs in there on a leash, of course, and, walk them all over the place. And so I put him on the floor, and I just let him run crazy, smelling all the smells. And then he meets the other dogs, and they meet and greet, and, so he just can't wait to tell her, you know who I saw at the store the other day? I saw this, blah, blah. And they just go on and they have this, it's like two little magpies together. But
so tell me, do dogs talk to each other like humans talk to each other? Do dogs share stories amongst each other?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Oh, absolutely they do. Of course, they don't do it in words, and they don't even do it in barks. They communicate by mental telepathy. And, they have words with one another. They do have their vocal cords, but when they bark, they're not really communicating thoughts or sentences.
Mm-hmm.
They're communicating warnings or greetings or look out, don't come over here, or did you hear that, or are you smelling that? Those are the kinds of things that they shoot out there with their vocal communication, but they absolutely communicate telepathy with each other.
Now, for example, in Dr. Ogden's case, she communicates with Jojo. Does she communicate with other dogs as well as, let's say, horses, cats, cows, or other members of the animal kingdom?
Absolutely. An animal communicator is just that, an animal communicator. Now, there are some who will specialize only because of their lifestyle or their preference.
Mm-hmm.
She does mainly dogs and cats, but there are a couple out there websites that they do strictly farm animals. There are people that do strictly with horses. There are some communicators who do strictly birds,
yes.
And they can specialize. Anyone can communicate with them all, but a lot of them do specialize, just because that's their preference.
But how do we know that the person that we're entrusting with our cherished animal is really communicating what the animal is saying and not putting into the animal's mouth what they want to say?
Well, I hate to put this out there, but there are little tests that you can, by certain questions or issues that you want to know about.
Mm-hmm.
And, when I was first initially interviewing different animal communicators for this project of writing JoJo's book, there were kind of little test questions that I would throw out there. I hate to say that you have to do that, but let's be frank here. Just like in any vocation or any business, there are frauds out there. There are scammers out there. But then there are some very, very legitimate business people, as there are some very legitimate animal communicators. So, with Dr. Kim, I threw out a couple questions. I don't remember what they were, but her response back to me was, "I'm not getting that. I'm not getting anything on that. I'm not getting," which was absolutely the right answer, because the reason she wasn't getting anything is because there wasn't anything to get, because the issue that I had presented to her
mm-hmm.
was really non-existent as far as he was concerned. So those are ways that, you can find out, and you can pretty much tell in the first 5 or 10 minutes if somebody is, really, really on the level.
So if someone is listening today and they figure, I'd like to take my little schnookieukums to see an animal communicator, what are some of the tips you can give them on choosing a good animal communicator?
Well, one of the things that I look for, because I'm a pretty gregarious person, and I'm a happy person, and I'm an out there person, and I like to communicate with someone who is of a like personality as I am. Now, someone who may be, a quieter, more conservative person may prefer someone who is more alike to their personality.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the tips that you want to look for, a lot of these communicators do it over the phone, too. Dr. Kim does a lot of long distance.
Mm-hmm.
She has clients all over the country.
Well, all right. I don't want to make this into a commercial for Dr. Kim. That's why I play.
Let's make it into a commercial for JoJo's book.
Well, it's also the reason I asked you this because I was asking you if we could, what the tips were for other people out there who also do animal communicating. I didn't want to. That's why I phrased it that way because I don't want to make it a specific commercial for somebody.
Who do? You mean what does the consumer look for in choosing an animal communicator?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Basically, like I said, putting out some little test questions and seeing what you get back and choosing someone that is much like your own personality, because that's going to be a key issue too. Who you are is going to be transferred to the dog, and from the dog or the animal, the pet, is going to be transferred to the communicator. So you all kind of want to be in sync, as to where your level of personality is.
Plus, I would imagine that it's also very important that the animal and the communicator get along with each other.
Oh, sure, absolutely. You can tell that, and the point is too is that she or he, the communicator, may say to you, your pet does not want to communicate with me for whatever reason. Your pet says they just don't want to let loose of any information, and for whatever reason that is your pet not wanting to communicate with.
All right, stand by, Sandy. You and I have to take our final break for this hour. Sande Donahue and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue right here on Talkstar. Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. www.jojothedog.com is JoJo's website. Tell me, how does JoJo celebrate Christmas?
JoJo hangs out under the tree with us. He sits right there. He's perched. Our little nephew comes and opens up all his gifts, and he's right there. Sometimes he wants to be set up on the coffee table, so he's a little higher and he gets a better view. But if I could, Rob, I'd like to just give out some holiday warnings.
Sure, that's great.
With pets.
Mm-hmm.
As we all know, poinsettias, live poinsettias are very, very toxic.
Very.
Mistletoe berries are poisonous. Chocolate is toxic, as is grapes and raisins. If you leave cookies around with raisins, don't leave chocolate laying around. Here's another thing. Pine needles. If you get a real tree, put a little fence around that tree. Pine needles are not digestible. And in a little dog, they can sit in there and cause internal damage. And the other thing is, keep your little pet away from the water. If you put chemicals in your tree water, they're likely to get in there, drink it, and who knows.
Please use common sense at Christmas time as well as any other time of the year. These are little people. Treat your animal as if it was a little child. You certainly wouldn't let your little child get into danger or any child visiting your home get into danger. Please take the same precautions with your animals. And Sandy brought up some excellent points. And, Sandy, so many times people don't think. And we must think. We have to keep the little animals in mind because they don't know better. They depend on us to make sure that they're safe and sound.
And I have to tell you, animal abuse around this world just drives me crazy. I work so very hard. Get JoJo's book. He'll tell you all about what it's like to be abused and abandoned from his point of view.
JoJo's book would make
JoJoTheDog.com.
and that would make an excellent Christmas present for anyone.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Listen, you're a great lady. I love the work that you do.
Thank you so much.
I love the way that you and JoJo have told the world about how to take better care of your dog. You've talked about animal abuse here with us many times. And from our home to yours, and a little hello to JoJo, a very Merry Christmas and a healthy, happy, and prosperous 2010 to you, your family, and of course, JoJo.
Thank you so much. Same to you. And remember, JoJo says, love is the answer.
Take care of yourself. We'll be speaking to you before Christmas, I'm told. We'll have to do a special on animal safety at Christmas. Would you care to join us for that one?
Absolutely.
All right, you're in. Take care of yourself. Sande Donahue has been our very special guest this hour. To get your copy of JoJo's book and find out more about JoJo, www.jojothedog.com. That's www.jojothedog.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with more of the X Zone as we continue live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada on the Talk Star Radio Network.